The roast beef is dry tonight, but nobody says anything, not that anyone usually does. We all chew with this practiced mechanical rhythmize on our plates, or in my grandson's case, under the table where his fingers flit across a glowing screen. I glance at the old brass clock on the wall, the one that used to hang above my fireplace before Lydia insisted it clashed with the kitchen theme. It's 7:30, exactly 5 years ago. At this very minute I stepped into this house with 2 suitcases and enough hope to fill a train car. I had come with good intentions, what all old women bring when they move in with their grown children. You bring casseroles, memories, and your slow, inconvenient presence. I wanted to be near my daughter to help raise her children. I thought I was doing something noble, or at least something useful. "Grandma, you're staring at the clock again," Gar says not unkindly. He's 13, lanky, and still occasionally affectionate when his mother isn't watching. I smile at him. "It tells the right time, honey, unlike your little gizmo there." Lydia rolls her eyes sharp and automatic, like it's a habit she doesn't even try to hide anymore. At 42, she still has that posture of a girl who knows she's always right, except now her superiority is accessorized with fine lines and a fatigue she refuses to name. Fergus doesn't say anything. Of course. He saws through the roast like it owes him money. I often wonder if he even hears us when we talk, or if he's just too practiced in the art of medical detachment. 16 years as chief physician at ASO's private clinic, and yet not once have I heard him raise his voice. He commands with silence, the kind that can flatten a room faster than a shout ever could. "Mum, would you mind not starting?" Lydia says, using that voice people reserve for toddlers or very old dogs. "I wasn't starting," I say, gently sliding some lettuce onto my plate. "I was answering Gar. Cassandra hasn't looked up from her phone once. Her fingernails are painted a matte black like she's in mourning for a generation that still makes eye contact. 16 going on an existential crisis. Cassie," I say carefully, "why don't you put the phone away for dinner? It's a simple phrase. I've said it 100 times, maybe more, but tonight, for whatever reason, it's the spark." "Oh my God, Mom!" Lydia explodes, fork clattering against her plate. "Can you please stop telling us how to raise our kids? If Cassie wants to sit on her phone, that's our business." The silence that follows feels sticky. Gar stares at his mashed potatoes like they might offer an escape route. Even Cassandra looks up blinking like she's surprised to find herself in the middle of something real. "I was just suggesting," I begin. "You're always just suggesting," Lydia snaps. "Every dinner, every conversation. You can't help yourself. Why can't you just sit back and be grateful we're letting you stay here?" And there it is. The blow that lands. Fergus looks up, then not surprised, not alarmed. Just like he's been waiting for this scene to unfold. "Lydia," he says in his clinical voice, the one I imagine he uses before delivering bad news to a patient. "I don't think your mother fully understands the burden she's placed on this family." Burden, I repeat, feeling my hands start to tremble. "I sold my house to move here. I help with the children, the cleaning." "Which we redo anyway," Lydia interjects. "You can't even vacuum right. Old age wisdom." Nothing is more infuriating than being treated like you're useless while you're still actively trying. I feel my face flush. I've taught classrooms of feral third graders for decades without flinching. Yet here I am being reprimanded like a forgetful maid in my daughter's house. "And your endless stories about the past," Lydia continues. "No one cares how much a loaf of bread cost in 1972, or how you met Dad at the vending machine." Gar glances at me. For a second I see something flicker their shame-guilt. But he quickly looks away. Fergus meets his eyes and the boy looks down again. "They're just being polite," Fergus says. "Unlike you." There it is again, the dismissal. The implication that my presence is more invasive than nurturing. That I've overstayed a welcome never sincerely given. "You asked me to move here," I say, keeping my voice steady. "You said the kids needed a grandmother. That was before you turned into a bitter old woman who spies on us and sticks her nose into everything," Lydia fires back. I freeze. They know. Or suspect. The secret I've kept tucked beneath my silence for years is now out in the open air, and it smells like fear. "I'm not spying," I say slowly. "I live here." And that's exactly the problem. Lydia shoves her chair back. "You live here. You're always here. You're always watching, always judging. You're a burden. Just go. You probably don't survive a moment like that without something inside you breaking." Gar gasps. Cassandra's phone drops to the floor with a sharp crack. Fergus calmly dabs at his mouth with a napkin. He could be at a gala, not this disaster of a dinner. "I'll leave," I say, rising from my chair. "That won't be necessary." Gar tries to argue. "Grandma, wait." Lydia cuts him off. "Don't manipulate them. That's beneath even you." And that's when it clicks. All these years I've bent over backwards not to rock the boat. But this isn't a boat, it's a life raft with holes, and I'm the one patching it while they drill more. I climb the stairs, knees screaming with every step. Is it arthritis, or just the weight of knowing I no longer have a home? In my room, really just a storage space with a twin bed, and the desk I brought with me. I pull out the same suitcase I brought 5 years ago. I start packing with calm hands. That's the thing about getting older. You learn how to leave with grace, even if you're crumbling inside. And also, for the record, it's physically impossible to vacuum a shag rug properly when the vacuum is older than your teenager. But sure, let's make that the hill we die on. I don't cry in the taxi. That surprises even me. The driver, a kid no older than Gar, glances at me through the rearview mirror like he expects I'll start sobbing into my handbag any moment. But I don't. I watch the streetlights roll past in a slow rhythm, each one a soft blur through the cold October air. We pull up to the Riverview Hotel, the kind of place where businessmen stay when they're too tired to drive home and too frugal for anything classier. Inside, everything smells like lemon-scented disinfectant and old carpet. The receptionist barely looks up. Maybe that's a blessing. There's a small mercy in being invisible tonight. One night, I say, sliding my card forward. The room is beige. Of course it is. A chair, a TV, a lamp, a painting of a boat. I sit on the edge of the bed and stare at my suitcase. The same navy blue Samsonite I brought into my daughter's house 5 years ago, full of hope and cardigans. Funny how hope doesn't wrinkle, but disappointment does. I take a shower. The water pressure is aggressive, like the universe is trying to exfoliate me into a new identity. I scrub until I smell like hotel soap and exhaustion. Then I sit back down on the bed towel wrapped around me and stare at my phone. 3 missed calls, Lydia. 1 text, I hope you realise what you've done. It's too late to apologise now. I almost laugh. Not because it's funny, but because it's textbook Lydia. She always had a talent for turning herself into the victim even when holding the axe. Gar's message comes in next. Grandma, are you okay? Mom said, you said something stupid. Poor boy, my heart squeezes. I'm fine, honey. Don't worry about me. Focus on school. Be good to your sister. A minute later, when are you coming back? I don't answer right away. How do you explain that the line between home and exile can dissolve in a single dinner? That once a child tells you you're a burden, the furniture never looks the same. Finally I type, let's talk later. Better not text me until things calm down. He sends back a simple okay, and that's the end of it. It's nearly midnight when I call Winifred. She answers on the second ring. Barl, she says, voice thick with sleep and age. You never call this late unless someone died. Close, I reply. It's just me. I got kicked out. I tell her everything. The dinner, the roast beef, the accusation, the silence. She listens without interrupting, which is saying something. Winifred is not a woman prone to silence. She's also not a woman who forgives easily. That pompous turkey, and your ungrateful daughter put you out on the street, she snaps when I finish. It's not the street, I'm at Riverview. Oh honey, same difference. She insists I move in with her immediately. I have 4 bedrooms and only 1 cat. Plenty of room for you and your sense of justice. The next morning she arrives at 10 a.m. sharp in her silver Volvo. It's the one she bought for her 70th birthday against her son's advice. He said I should stop driving. So I bought the fastest one I could afford. That's Winifred. She hugs me at the curb like we're in a war movie. Oscar, her grey cat, is sitting in the window when we pull up, watching me like I'm intruding on his empire. Her house is beautiful. Victorian bones with modern paint. A porch that seems to invite confessions. She gives me the blue room, the one that overlooks her rose garden. I've always loved that room. That afternoon, over lemon tea and cookies that probably expired during the Clinton administration, we hatch a plan. Fergus may look like the perfect suburban physician, but behind the linen shirts and polite nods is a man who doctored more than just patients. 3 years ago, I found the first discrepancy. He accused me of misplacing a cufflink. While looking for it in his office, I knocked over a stack of papers. 2 versions of a report, same title, different data. I wanted to believe it was a clerical error. I wanted to believe my daughter would never be part of something so corrupt. But then I heard them. Fergus on the phone with the drug rep. Lydia warning him to be careful. The word adjustments used the way most people say white lie. I kept silent for the children. For the fantasy that maybe I was wrong. But last night they made the decision for me. Old age wisdom. There's a moment in every woman's life when she realises silence doesn't protect, it suffocates. Winifred has connections. Her son Marcus is a lawyer. Her best friend runs the local paper. By that evening, we've arranged a meeting with the medical board. I gather all the documents I had quietly copied. It's not everything, but it's enough. Do you want to go public? She asks. I shake my head. I don't want attention. I want accountability. Next day we meet Jeremy Hammond, the chair of the medical board. He's polite in that way people are when they don't expect to take you seriously. But then he sees the files. If what you're presenting is true, he says, slowly removing his glasses, this is not just unethical, it's criminal. I nod. That's why I came to you. And just like that, the wheel turns. Within a week, the clinic is closed for investigation. Fergus is put on leave. Lydia loses her job. The newspaper starts sniffing. Lydia calls me screaming, says I've ruined everything, says I destroyed our family for revenge. I didn't destroy anything, I say, softly. I just stopped holding the broken pieces together. You're not my mother anymore, she spits. Forget about us forever. I hang up. That evening, Cassandra texts. Is it true about Dad? Yes, sweetheart, I had to report it. I'm sorry you found out this way. Did you leave because of that? No, I left because your mother asked me to. A long pause, then I miss you. Those 3 words feel heavier than any insult Lydia ever threw at me. Gar visits a week later, says he wants to stay with me. I don't tell him what Lydia said. I just hug him and make hot chocolate with extra whipped cream. He looks so small in the big armchair, but his voice is firm. I get why you did it. I would have done the same. Quirky fact of the day, sea slugs can regrow their entire body from just their head. I guess we all regenerate in some way. 3 months pass. Lydia hasn't called again. The investigation confirms Fergus falsified the data. He pleads guilty to avoid jail time. His licence is revoked. A class action suit begins. I establish an education fund for the kids' money Lydia can't touch. Gar comes on weekends. Cassandra sometimes calls. Winifred and I go to the theatre, we read books, we laugh. And for the first time in a long time I feel light. Not because life is perfect, but because I'm no longer lying to myself. Drifting snow outside, laughter inside. The truth cost everything but brought peace like the hush that follows a storm at sea.